Alright, good afternoon everybody! Kamusta po kayong lahat sa isang napakainit na Saturday afternoon? Ako po si Riza Diaz. I'm broadcasting from the comforts of my own home at kakamustahin po natin ang ating mga ka-chasers ngayong hapon na to. Alamin natin kung nasa naman sila. Si Jerry Ramos, parang palagay ko nasa bahay. Hi Jerry!
Hi Riz! Good day Philippines! Good day mga ka-chasers! So Riz, nandito lang din sa bahay, no? Na work from home. 2 weeks ago na, no? 2 weeks ago. And actually, yung etong looking back lang, it's been a year na nag-ano na tayo through Zoom, through StreamYard, no? Dahil tandaan ko, unang ano natin sa Chasedown was April 4, nung una tayong nag-live via Zoom, April 4. I think sila Kiefer Ravena yata, yung Ravena family, yung unang-unang guest natin along with EJ Obiena, direct from Italy, no? So, one year na. Pero work from home tayo, nasa studio tayo, tuloy-tuloy ang pag-aatid natin ng balita at pasabog sa mundo ng palakasan. Kaya nga sabi nila, sit back, relax, and fasten your seatbelt. Riza?
Totoong fasten your seatbelt kasi I remember that episode, Jerry, we went all the way, like what you said, from Antipolo, where the Ravenas would reside, all the way to Italy to talk to EJ. And that's what we're going to do today. Kahit nasa mga bahay-bahay po tayo and staying safe, iikot tayo sa mundo ng sports mula sa Pilipinas and abroad. At syempre kasama sa biyahe natin is Zaldi Perez. Zaldi, ikaw, nasan ka naman ngayon?
Well, andito, nasa bahay ako ng aking bunsong kapatid dito sa Morong, Bataan. As usual, kasi matagal na ako dito sa Bataan, bali 16 days na ako. Nakalusot lang ako nung a day before National Capital Region and the neighboring provinces ay put under the bubble, nakauwi ako. Nakalusot ako dito sa SBMA, so schedule akong bumalik by Tuesday siguro. But anyway, kahit na nga, sabi nga ni Jerry, kahit na nasa ang lupalop man tayo, tayong mga taga-Chasedown, pipilitin pa rin natin at pipilitin na mabigyan ng mga pinakasariwang balita ang ating mga ka-chasers pagdating sa palakasan. So, mantabay lamang po kayo, huwag po kayong aalis. Interesante po ang aming guest sa araw na ito.
Yes, naku, alam mo yung guest natin ngayon, isa to sa mga, to be honest na, kung ako lang mismo kahit napakatagal ko na nagko-cover ng PBA, isa to sa parang minsan mahihiya kang kausapin kasi talagang iba yung focus niya lalo na pag nasa games. Pero kapag nakausap mo naman, talagang napakarami mong matututunan and we are so excited na makakasama natin siya ngayong hapon. Di ba, Waylon?
Sino kaya yun?
Riza and mga ka-chasers, introduce ko na ba?
Aba?
Introduce ko na.
Sobra naman.
Ikaw naman masyado ka trigger happy.
Hindi. Andito kasi ako ngayon sa Titan. Kinukumbinsi ko si Thanos.
Wow!
Si Thanos.
Uy.
Natulungan na tayo sa COVID-19 na to. Baka pwede niyang ganunin para mawala na. Para makabalik na tayo sa studio dahil nakakamiss na rin Pero syempre, ganun pa man, ingat-ingat pa rin tayo. Kasi nga, andyan pa rin yung threat ng COVID-19. Kailangan stay safe pa rin tayo. Always practice the health protocols. Kaya ngayong araw, sagot namin ang kwentuhan nyo pagdating sa larangan ng sports. Kaya tutok lang kayo. I-introduce ko na si Riza. Okay na ba?
Saglit lang. Maya. Pero alam mo, Waylon, isa sa makakasama natin din ngayong hapon, looking so refreshed because we usually see him in his office but now he's just at home and lounging. Kanina, backstage. Siya ba nagpapatimpla pa ng kapit? May pamerienda yata si Aba Cordero.
Yes, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. For the first time, work from home ako for this show. Hindi man magandang balita na kumakalat at patuloy ang pagsipa ng COVID cases sa atin. Makikita mo naman sa World of Sports, patuloy pa rin, especially in other countries, nagpapatuloy sila, no? Ganun din naman dito, sinusunod lang naman natin lahat ng protocol. So, mga sports fans, relax lang muna kayo. Safety first before the games, ano? Thank you, Chasers,
That's
viewers.
true. Observe all those health protocols tulad na lang ng washing hands, wearing your face mask and face shields kapag lalabas kayo, and of course, living healthy, di ba? Boosting our immune system and boosting our afternoon, or of course, our sports stories na ihahatid namin sa inyo. So along with the Chasers, ako po si Riza Diaz. Let's welcome everybody to the show. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Chasedown.
Aba?
Alright, let's dish out our headlines. Eto na, sisimulan natin ng mga may init na headlines na kasing init ng summer na paparating o nararamdaman na nga natin. Ito ang ating unang headline sa araw na to or sa linggong ito. Mga NSAs magtatayo ng training bubbles. Marami to ha, para pagandaan sa Vietnam ang paparating na SEA Games.
And pambansang kamaho, si Senator Manny Pacquiao lalaban daw kay Terence Crawford itong June na ito. Abangan.
Yes, Philippine volleyball star na si Jaja Santiago may offer na maging Japanese citizen.
Aba?
Damarego to.
Ogay masta.
Ito naman, siyempre, idol natin sa golf. Tiger Woods, naku, yung aksidente niya. Ano ba talaga dahilan?
Oh,
Malalaman
Ano
natin mamaya yan. Uusisain natin.
Grabe. Text natin.
Yan. At siyempre pa, Los Angeles Lakers makakapag-celebrate na rin ng 2019-2020 NBA title kasama ang mga fans sa wakas.
Finally.
And of course, like what we promised our ka-chasers this afternoon, ang ating pong special guest ngayong hapon ito is none the less than the winningest coach in the PBA. Tim Con of Barangay Ginebra, San Miguel is joining us. A very, very rare opportunity. Kaya samahan niyo po kami dahil bukod sa mga headlines na yan na i-discuss natin, napakarami pa pong sports balita in between na ating pagkukwentuhan at hihimayin. Pero again, sa mga nanonood po sa atin via PBA Rush, hello, welcome. Sa mga nanonood sa Facebook, naku, pwede kayong chat sa amin para mabati din namin kayo mamaya. At sa mga nakikinig via Radyo 5 92.3 News FM, maraming salamat na po. At pati na rin sa mga nanonood via Signal Play app. Thank you so much. It's going to be a fun-filled, interesting afternoon. If you are just at home, ito na po yung magandang maging tambayan nyo ngayong hapon ito. Simulan natin sa ating unang discussion ngayong hapon ito. The bannering headline for this week is the NSA's thinking, or I think they're going to pursue putting up multiple bubbles. So marami to to train for the upcoming Southeast Asian Games. Ang impormasyon nating nakuha, again, is because due to the rising cases of COVID-19 here in NCR, hindi na po na pwedeng, or hindi mo na pinapayagan mag-train ng ating mga atleta sa mga venues tulad na lang ng Phil Sports Arena or ang Ultra sa May Pasig, o kaya Rizal Coliseum sa May Pasay. So ang gagawin ng ating mga atleta, the NSAs, they would be going outside NCR or outside pa the NCR plus bubble and train in areas kung saan hindi nga ECQ. So, mga ka-chasers, ano ba sa tingin nyo? Is this a good idea? Kasi, to think of it in itself, mukhang magastos ito kasi iba't ibang venue. Papadala pa natin yung mga atleta doon. Siyempre, meron ding accommodations at marami pang iba. So, would like to get your thoughts. Simulan ko kay Waylon. Ano sa tingin mo? Would this be a good idea, Waylon, to prepare for the SEA Games?
Sige nga.
I think ang ano niyan, Riz, ang model niyan, walang iba kundi fencing. Kasi nagawa nila in Ormoc City.
Pasok mo pa yun.
With the Ormoc City Mayor, Fred Gomez. Ano po? Anyway, maganda model niyan yung Ormoc City nga, no? Which hosted the Philippine Fencing National Team. They are preparing for the Olympic qualifying tournament. Pero hindi lang yung OQT fencers ang nagtitrain dyan. Kasama dyan yung possible members for the Southeast Asian Games. Siguro nakita ng PSC, ng Philippine Sports Commission, kung gagayahin ng ibang NSAs yung ginawa ng PFA, ng Philippine Fencing Association, baka sakaling pwedeng gawin ng ibang NSA sa ibang lugar din. Kung meron silang kakayahan, kung meron silang venue, kasi ang NSA naman may sariling pera din yan eh. And I think the PSC will also help them to prepare for the Southeast Asian Games kung magkakaroon sila ng sarili-sarili nilang training bubble. And also, eto may latest lang I think sa PSC kasi nag-lockdown yung PSC, yung both the Rizal Memorial Sports Complex and also the Phil Sports Arena in Pasig because of the COVID-19 cases na meron sila. So, siguro magandang paraan to for our athletes na makapag-prepare outside of NCR na meron silang sariling training bubble. I think this is good for the members of the national team. So, kung merong paraan, I think maganda for the national team, Visa.
Yeah, at least meron talagang exert na effort to be able to train and compete and kumbaga maintain itong nakukuha natin na standing when it comes to the Southeast Asian Games. Jerry, can you just refresh us on how well we did when we hosted last year? Syempre kahit papaano may pressure yun na kailangan ganun pa rin yung ipakita natin, di ba? Kahit hindi na tayo host. Jerry?
Raise na wala yata si Jerry.
Aba,
Okay,
oo nga, no?
I'll throw the same question to you, Abak.
Well, mabigat ang pressure because being the defending champion, everybody's thinking of beating you, no? Ang mahirap dito, we are going to Hanoi to defend the title. And of course, the hometown bet will always have the advantage. Ganyan naman ang trend sa SEA Games. The host country wins the overall title. Bagamat mahirap na yan as it is, lalo pang pinapahirapan itong athletes natin because they cannot train as much as they want to or as much as they need to because of the pandemic. Sarado ang mga venues. Well, nasabi ni Waylon, yung fencing, nagtitrain sa Ormoc, it's a good thing. But to some NSAs, that's easier said than done because NSAs have different needs in training. Paano yung rowing, paano yung ibang, kunyari, softball or baseball or gymnastics or track and field. Mahirap humanap ng basta-basta venues na not under ECQ that will suit their needs in training. Ang fencing, mas madali because one gymnasium, one small multipurpose hall, they can convert it into a training venue. But does that not speak for other sports? Kaya it's a very huge challenge for most of the NSAs. Tingnan natin how they will cope.
Yeah. Is it worth the money and is it worth the effort and the energy? Jerry, what do you think?
Agree ako sa sinabi ni Abak ni Raylon. Actually, bukod sa fencing, yung archery, may own training bubble din dyan sa Dumaguete, no? Kasi dyan naman talaga yung home ng mga archers natin sa Dumaguete. But again, conforme talaga sa NSA yan, no? Sabi nga ni Abak, kanya-kanyang needs yan. And ang problema rin dyan, hindi naman lahat ng NSAs may ganong financial na capability to host or to conduct their own bubble training, no? Yung iba nga kailangan talaga umasa pa sa financial na support ang ibinibigay ng PSC na alam naman din natin hindi rin naman ganun kalalim ang balon ngayong mga panahon na ito. So tama 'yon. I agree with Abak na it's going to be a big challenge, especially dun sa mga NSAs na talagang hindi nga capable financially to sustain yung ganyang kamahal na trade.
Yeah. Zaldi, I want to hear your thoughts about this matter. What do you think?
Actually, hindi lang ito mahirap para doon sa mga National Sports Association, kundi lalong-lalo na doon sa mga athlete na talagang isasabak natin pagdating sa larangan. Ang masasabi ko lang dito, agree ako doon sa sinabi ni Abak, ni Jerry, tsaka nila Waylon. Ang determinasyon lamang ang matatanong natin dito noong sa mga atleta. Dahil alam naman natin, hindi nga lahat ng NSAs ay capable at saka meron silang pera para magsagawa ng kanilang sariling yung training bubble nila. Kaya nga yung iba na medyo hirap, dito makikilala yung determinasyon noong bawat atleta para maipagtanggol natin yung ating corona pagdating sa Hanoi this coming itong Vietnam Southeast Asian Games. So manalangin tayo na sana sa kabila ng hirap na dinaranas nitong ating mga atleta at saka ng mga National Sports Association ay maging pa rin tayo, victorious tayo in the end pagdating ng Southeast Asian Games.
Yan.
Sana. So let's hope and pray that things also get better so that our athletes can, give or rather have, diba, their proper training in preparation nga for the upcoming Southeast Asian Games. Okay, we're just waiting for confirmation if our guest is already on standby. Parang wala pa yata. So while we're waiting for our guest, while we're waiting for Coach Tim Con, pasadahan natin muna yung mga iba pang sports balita. Isa sa mga nasagap natin na balita this week, syempre nga itong announcement that Clark will be hosting the third window of the 2021 FIBA Asia Cup Qualifiers. Naku, parang ilang beses na nating narinig na medyo nag-urong-sulong ito, but now they're saying it's confirmed and it was formally announced nga very recently. There would be 3 groups that would be playing on Clark, or rather at Clark, on June 16 to 30th of this year. Sa Group A, dyan tayo kamembro, ang Gilas Pilipinas kasama ang Korea, Indonesia, and Thailand. Samantala, sa Group B naman na maglalaro din sa Clark, we have China, Japan, Chinese Taipei, and Malaysia. And finally, on Group C, it's Australia, New Zealand, Guam, and Hong Kong. So again, this bubble will be held in Clark from June 16 to 30. That's the FIBA Asia Cup 2021 third window for the qualifiers. Now, I want to get the thoughts of our chasers. Zali, ikaw nang mauna. This should be a welcome development and we're hoping na sana mag-improve yung ating numbers. Alam mo yung para matuloy talaga itong pag-host natin, di ba?
Ay, siyempre, kailangan natin ito. Sabi nga nila, may advantage talaga pagka ang isang tournament ay ginagawa sa iyong bayan. Kaya lang, ang problema nga lang ay baka walang manunood. Pero iba pa rin yung ikaw ang host ng torneo. At anyway, hindi naman masyadong mahirap, maganda yung groupings natin. At actually, ang kailangan na lamang ng Gilas, manalo ng isang game para formally na to enter in the 2021 FIBA Asia Cup sa Indonesia ngayong Agosto. And I don't think na mahihirapan ang Pilipinas para makuha natin yung kinakailangang isang panalo.
Yeah. Jerry, the Clark in itself, the area is ready to host, a bubble like this. Kasi they've done it before. So, sana talaga matuloy, no?
Yes, Riz. Actually, we wanted to proceed as scheduled because it means getting back into normalcy, especially in Philippine sports. But ang isang concern natin dyan is yung cases ng COVID-19 dito by that time, no? Hopefully, bumaba na siya because things look up right now, ang taas pa rin, no? Although it's almost two months away, but hopefully talagang maibaba na yung cases ng COVID dito. Otherwise, baka naman hindi matuloy yung hosting natin kung ganun kataas ang kaso ng COVID dito, di ba? Alalahanin natin, ganun ang nangyari nung we're supposed to host it last February and the last minute, bigla natin give up yung hosting because yun nga, yung sitwasyon ng pandemya dito sa ating bansa.
Right.
Please.
Abak, how do you think this affects, thank you, Jerry. Abak, how do you think this affects the players? You know, their training, tapos biglang atras, tapos matutuloy na naman. Kung ikaw siguro yung player, napakahirap doon mentally, lalo na siguro, no?
Of course, anytime you're facing uncertainty, mahirap ano. In any aspect, pagka uncertainty ang kaharap mo, mahirap whether in life, in sports, in business, anything. It does not exempt our athletes from this ano. Siyempre mahirap. Mamaya, ensayo ka ng ensayo, yung pala, for a tournament that will not push through. I don't want to sound pessimistic, pero the tournament itself is confirmed as of today. We should wait for the FIBA action on this. Dahil I'm sure FIBA is keeping an eye on the COVID situation in the country. Nung binigay nila sa atin yan, because mababa ang cases sa atin, and then naibigay sa ibang bansa at binalik ulit sa atin because of the status of the COVID-19 pandemic. Pero ngayong tumataas ulit ang COVID cases dito sa atin. We don't know what FIBA is looking up to now. Ano? Baka mamaya iniisip nilang, is it really safe to push through with the tournament in the Philippines? We will see in the coming days siguro.
Right. Thank you, Abak. Well, another issue that was raised here is, would it be, or is it gonna conflict to the PBA schedule just in case that the PBA also holds a bubble? Remember, kung ang tinitignan ng PBA sa kanyang kalendaryo is to start around May, malamang ongoing pa ang season noon. Paano kaya to, no?
Riz, I'm not sure kung ready ang PBA to playing that tournament, the FIBA qualifiers. What I know is kaya meron tayong training pool under Project Director Coach Tab Baldwin together with Coach John Chico is for the amateur players to participate in that window 3. Sabi nga, isang panalo na lang naman ang kailangan for us to qualify. Siguro hindi naman makaka-apekto if the PBA by that time June ongoing na, semi-bubble or katulad nung nakaraan na talagang bubble setup ang ginawa nila. Hindi sa tingin ko makaka-apekto. Pero yung mga sinabi ng ating mga fellow chasers na yun na nga, hoping na matuloy. Ako siguro wait and see ang personal kong pananaw. Kasi tama nga yung mga sinabi earlier na dapat ito February, nawala sa atin, ginibap natin, napunta sa Doha. Then Doha, nag-give up din, tapos binalik sa atin, nakuha uli natin. Ngayon, meron na tayong definite date, June. Kaso, yun talaga yung problema with the COVID cases rising again. We don't know in 2 months kung anong magiging stand ulit ng FIBA about us hosting this. Pero it's a good development kasi meron ng data ang hosting natin. Pero sana lang talaga, ako wait and see. Sana lang talaga matuloy pero tignan natin. Please.
Yeah, I think as sports fans, we all hope and wish na matuloy siya, di ba? Kaso nga lang, we can only do so much and some things are beyond our control. So, let's hope and pray that the situation gets better. So, hopefully nga, matuloy itong sinasabing bubble na to. But they announced it already from June, again, 13 to 20 ang bubble na yan sa May Clark. That's the third window of the FIBA Asia Cup Qualifiers. All right, good luck to everybody. Simulan or diretso tayo sa isa pang topic natin. This is good news somehow, one way or another. It's about Jaja Santiago getting this offer to be naturalized by Japan and hopefully to be able to join their national team dahil nga sa magandang ipinakita niya sa kanyang paglalaro doon sa isang commercial team. She led that team, the Ageo Medics V Cup, in a championship. And because of that, binibigyan nga ng opportunity itong si Jaja Santiago na maging Japanese citizen. I'm not very well versed when it comes to citizenship. I don't know if she's gonna become dual or i-give up ba niya ang Filipino citizenship niya since she's going to play for the national team. But I'm just happy for her in one way or another kasi talagang nakre-recognize yung husay at galing niya and the potential that she can bring for the Japanese national team. Imagine, di ba si Jaja Santiago, we've seen her from, the time when she was starting with NU and now, aba, talaga namang namamayagpag at nagpapakitang gilas itong si Jaja, and who knows, this could be her ticket to make it to the Olympics playing volleyball. I'm not saying that the Philippines will never be, but syempre sa ngayon talagang mahirap pa tinatrabaho natin na makarating dyan, pero baka nga ito na ang kanyang magiging daan. Zaldi, you've heard about this news. How did it make you feel?
Well, nung marinig ko at malaman ko, siyempre natutuwa ako dahil aside from itong si Ravena na naglalaro din dyan sa Japan, na kilalang kilala na at saka sikat na rin, here comes another Filipino na biglang sa husay niya sa volleyball, inoferan siya na maging Japanese citizen siya at para makapaglaro. Pero ewan ko lang, depende kasi kung susundin ni Jaja Santiago yung kanyang pangarap na makapaglaro sa Olympics, siguro ito na yung right time. Pero I believe na nakahati yung kanyang puso pagdating dyan dahil siyempre, mahal mo ang Pilipinas at gusto mong yan kung i-represent mo, katulad ng napakalaking event na yan na Olympics, kung maaari, sa Pilipinas. Pero sa state ngayon ng volleyball ng Pilipinas, malabo tayo mag-qualify sa Olympics. Kaya nga lamang ihanda ni Jaja Santiago sakaling mag-decide siya na maging citizen siya ng Japan, yung mga basher. Kaya nga alam mo yan, sasabihin na lamang maraming isang case yan na itong ating chess player na nag-US citizen na tumanggap din na napakaraming pula at saka yung pambabas sa social media. Sana naman kung magpasya si Jaja yung tamang-tama at ika nga yung nasa puso niya, yung gagawin niyang pagpapasya.
Wayland, on your perspective, would you feel bad if Jaja would accept this offer to become a citizen of Japan and play for their national team? Sasama ba yung loob mo?
Kung ako si Philippine Volleyball,
Kung member ka, yeah.
I'll be happy for Jaja because kumbaga bilang Pilipino na-recognize yung talent ng isang Pilipina sa larangan ng volleyball. Pero kung sasama loob ko, siguro hindi. Gagawa pa ako ng mas maraming Jaja Santiago with the national team. Papalakasin ko yung national team para magkaroon ng opportunity for the national team na manalo internationally. Yes, magiging malaking kawalan si Jaja if she decides na yun nga, magpalit ng nationality. Mawawalan ng isang kumbaga, isang haligi yung Philippine Volleyball Women's Team kung lilipat ng nationality si Jaja. Pero, kumbaga, titignan ko na lang sa positive thing na siguro maganda na mas gumawa pa ako ng maraming ganitong talent para lumakas yung national team ko and then ma-recognize ng ibang bansa. Biro mo, Pilipina ang gustong i-naturalize. Tayo dito, gusto natin mag-naturalize. In the case of Gilas Pilipinas, di ba? In the case of Philippine Ascals, meron ng on the way na para makuha yung talagang naturalization. Pero ito, sa women's volleyball, may isang gustong gawing Japanese national. So, I think, kung titignan natin on a positive note, maganda siya. Let's just take it on a positive side na okay siya, maganda siya. Akin, personal ko yun. Please.
Yeah, parang parang let's be happy for the opportunities that Jaja Santiago is being given to because she deserves it. She's been playing in Japan for 3 years. made a lot of sacrifices, and talagang napakahusay niya. So when she's offered something to improve kung ano man ang state na meron siya and to grow, and why not? And sinasabi nga nila, di ba, somehow, baka naman, in a way, magbabago lang yung jersey o yung citizenship kuno, pero Pilipina pa rin yan one way or another. Di ba, Jerry? Hindi mo maaalis sa kanya yun eh. Pilipino't Pilipino pa rin siya.
Yes, tama, Riz. And she should
Risa,
serve
parang
as
si
an
Jerry yan. Si Jerry,
inspiration.
hapon yan eh. Kita mo naman, nasa itsura.
Hindi, Jaja should serve as inspiration sa mga co-players niya, sa mga upcoming Filipino volleyball players, and siguro sa Volleyball Association na rin dito sa ating bansa to strive more, no, na mas iangat pa yung kalagayan ng Philippine volleyball dahil eto unti-unti nang kumbaga ini-import na ng ibang bansa yung mga players natin, no. So it should help not only Jaja's cause but the cause of Philippine volleyball in itself. And as far as Jaja is concerned, i-allow natin na mapursuy niya yung Olympic dream niya. Bihirang dumating yan sa buhay ng isang atleta eh. More so dito sa Pilipinas pagdating sa volleyball, no? Kasi kung sa Asia nga nahihirapan na tayo eh. What more on the Olympics pa. So hayaan natin si Jaja na ipursuy yung dream niya na makapaglaro sa Olympics. At the same time, Riz, parang magkakaroon din ng transfer of technology dyan eh. Dahil whatever Jaja is learning, yung mga conditioning or training sa Japan, pwede niya ring i-apply at ituro din naman dito sa mga kasamahan niya at sa national team na. Riz?
Yeah, I was about to say, Jerry, even if she gets naturalized and she plays for the Japanese national team for a certain number of years, you don't know, maybe after that, she comes back to the Philippines and then she becomes, let's say, a coach or a trainer. And may babalik din niya at masusuklian pa rin niya ang kanyang mga, kumbaga, may share niya yung mga blessings na nakuha niya from Japan sa ating mga kababayan dito. Abak, overall, how do you feel about this issue or this news rather with Jaja Santiago?
Well, in the end, the freedom of choice falls on Jaja. It's up to her. Hindi not for the Philippine Volleyball Federation to decide, not for the PSC, not for the PVL. It's her choice. It's her life. It's her career, no? So tayo naman dito, opinion lang natin ito. But the choice is still with Jaja. Kaya ako, ang opinion ko naman is I'm really taking this news with great caution. Kasi parang gusto ko isipin yung nangyari kay Wesley So, no? Na napakagaling na chess player who opted to give up his Filipino citizenship and be an American citizen. Ngayon nawala na tuloy siya ng chance, if there is very little slim chance of representing the country in international competitions. The same goes with Jaja. Wag naman sana na kung maging Japanese citizen siya ay mahadlangan siya maglaro for the Philippine national team. Wag naman sana. But also this should serve or may serve as a precedent, na baka mamaya hindi lang si Jaja, baka hindi natin malaman, kukunin na rin si Eliza, kukunin na rin kung sino pang, not only in volleyball but also in other sports. Si Kaloyulo is in Japan for all we know for a long time now. Baka mamaya bigyan din siya ng offer na ganyan, di ba? Or even our basketball players ma-recruit, mawala naman tayo dito ng mga talent, for them. It's a opportunity for them. Maganda kasi it's for their personal improvement. But sana wag lang sana maapektuhan when the time comes, if the time comes, ang kanilang participation or representation ng Philippine
Right.
team.
Thank you, Abak. Nevertheless, we want to say congratulations to Jaja. You are killing it, girl, and we are so proud of you. Hopefully, next week, makakwentuhan natin siya. Sisikapin natin makakuha ng interview kay Jaja Santiago. But our guest is now ready, so
Ayan na.
huwag na nating patagalin pa. Let me introduce to everyone our special guest this afternoon. Special na parang halo-halo na merong ube ice cream sa ibabaw at may leche flan at may makapuno at lahat-lahat na ganun siya ka-special. He happens to be a four-time recipient of Coach of the Year award. He's won the Grand Slam twice in his career so far, and he's gunning for more. There's no stopping him. He's been in the All-Star for 8 times, and he happens to be the winningest coach in PBA history with 23 titles. He's with us this afternoon, and we are more than grateful to welcome Barangay Ginebra San Miguel head coach once again on the show, Coach Timcon. Kamusta po kayo?
I'm great. Thank you. Very nice. I wish I was working. Instead of talking to you, I wish I was at practice. Getting ready for a game or something. Sana.
On a hot Saturday like this, you're not in practice as you hope you would be, but you're just at home. What's keeping you busy?
Well, right now, just before I came on the show, I was working on some breakdowns of our video. So we can start showing. We're going to start doing video Zoom with some of the new guys like Christian and Brian Enriquez and Ken and also MJ Ayayay. So we're breaking. I'm trying to break it down so we can get some video and show them, so we can kind of get a head start on our offense as we go along. So that keeps me busy. Zoom meetings with the players, and then I do my own things at the house. So keeping busy, keeping purposeful, I guess is the best thing.
Right, but it kind of sucks though that you can't even do personal exercise for yourself, like golf, which I know you love, and tennis too. I know you played tennis almost every day before.
Yeah, I do play tennis every day. So now, it's now it's about jogging, and which I hate, and I do get an opportunity to do a little bit of swimming. I have access to a small pool, but it's not very challenging because the pool is so small. But whatever we can do. My wife figures out how to do it. She's a marathoner, so I try to do it with her.
Okay, all right. Jerry has questions for you, Coach. Go ahead, Jerry.
Hey, Jared.
Hi, Coach. Good afternoon. Coach, a lot of people considered your team as a winner in the recent rookie draft. Your thoughts about it?
Winner in the where? Sorry?
In the recent rookie draft,
Oh, in the recent rookie
in the
draft.
last draft.
Yeah, I didn't catch
Yeah,
the rookie draft.
Your thoughts about it?
I think we were. I think we got who we wanted. At this point with Ginebra, we have talent spread out through the team. We have it in the guard position with LA and Stanley and Scotty. We obviously have Japeth in the front line and a developing Prince and the new acquisition Christian. We have some really strong forwards. We have our rookie last year, Arvin and AJ and of course Joe DeVance. The veteran and so we have all these guys, and we have kind of all the positions decided. So to us, what was important was what we call lineup construction. We really wanted to construct the lineup in a proper way where we have we just don't want to overload one position with too much talent and there's too much competition amongst the players. So we elected to go with a big who we feel can play multiple positions with Ken Holmquist, who, by the way, does not want to go by Holmquist. He wants to go by his mother's name, but I'll tell you what that is later on. And then we went with Brian Enriquez at a guard position, but can play, 3 different positions at the guard position. But eventually, we hope that he can play the big guy. So the guys that we wanted, that we thought would be there, we got. Obviously, we would have loved to have moved up in the draft and gotten some of the the really big name players, but the guys that dropped, those are the guys we wanted.
Okay. Have Ken and Brian Enriquez already worked out with the team prior to the lockdown, coach?
Very little, very little. We hardly had a chance to see them and put them together. I didn't because they were in different groups because we were in cluster groups. So I didn't get a chance to work with them. There was a lot of COVID-related things going on. Even before we actually went into lockdown, a lot of the teams were struggling with the COVID. I canceled the last week of our practice prior to the lockdown because I felt that there was just too much risk at that time. So we were practicing the week before the lockdown even. But I just felt it was better for the players that we didn't meet yet, and we kind of look at what was going on because the infections were climbing so fast. And then a week later, we went into lockdown. Now we can't practice, of course. So we haven't practiced in quite a while.
Okay, one more, coach. Andre Paras was a guest of ours 2 weeks ago, and he told us about being invited in one of Ginebra's workouts. What exactly did you see in Andre that necessitated an invitation from you, coach?
Well, he has a big rep as a big time rebounder, and rebounders always excite me. I always get real excited about having rebounders on the team. I think they're very hard to groom. It's more rebounders are more natural. You look at Scotty Thompson. We didn't teach Scotty how to rebound. It became very natural for him, and Andres was the same way. He's a big time rebounder. We really considered picking him. And the only reason we didn't is that we just felt that Ken was just a little bit more versatile and kind of resembled a Joe DeVance, which, me, how much I love Joe and how big he is in our system. We felt Ken might be able to fill in for Joe in that role. And then we wanted to go get a guard afterward. So once we got one big guy, we didn't want to get two big guys and overload our lineup. So, but Andres was one guy we really looked at and really thought about, and the kid is really driven, especially on the board. He's a monster, and so we really wanted to take a really strong look at him. And the only reason we didn't take him later in the draft, I think he was picked before we could pick him, and also, we just had too many contracts in the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, coach. Appreciate it, coach. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, before we move to Zaldi's question, you were mentioning about Ken, something about the last name.
Oh yeah. Well, he told me that he doesn't want to be known as Ken Holmquist. He'd rather be known as Ken Stabulo, which is his mother's maiden name. And he claims he never knew his father very well, and his mother was the one that raised him, and he's the one that's really close to her. So he would like to be known as from his mother's name rather than his father's name. So that's just a nice little trivia. But I think we talked to the PBA about putting his name in the back of his jersey, kind of like what Jason Castro does. Jason's was Jason Williams at one point, and he wanted to change to Castro. It's kind of the same thing for Ken, but there's some procedurals that we have to get through in terms of paperwork that we have to submit to the PBA before it can get done. But I think that's his intention, is to do that at some point.
Nice, and hopefully it works out. It works out for him, and it's noted among the members of the media. So from this day on, we'll refer to him through his mom's family name,
It's
his
hard to
mom's
spell,
maiden
coach.
name. Yeah, it's better. It's better.
Yeah, Holmquist is hard. There's a Q, there's a B, and there's all kinds of weird letters in that name. Yeah, so it also it'll fit better on the back of his uniform too than the mother's maiden name.
Nice. Okay, Zaldi has some more questions, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Coach. Good
Hey,
afternoon.
Hey, Zaldi.
Yeah. Well, my first question, tell us about your new acquisition Christian Standhardinger?
Oh, I wish you'd asked me that question about a month or two from now because we just haven't had access to him. I had the great pleasure of coaching him amongst the other great players in the Southeast Asian Games, and that's where I got to know Christian a little bit more. And we really got along well at that time. I thought that he played really well in conjunction with Japeth during that time. It just seemed like a really good fit for the two of them to come. So when we had an opportunity to go and try to get him, we did. We had to give up something really big to do it, and that's, of course, Greg Slaughter. But Christian has been really receptive to what we're doing. Mostly I see him right now in Zoom meetings, but he's active in those Zoom meetings, and I think he's not only going to be a great player for us, but I think he's going to be a great leader for us as well. He has that kind of take charge personality, and he backs it up because he works so hard. He does all the dirty work and he works so hard. And those kind of leaders are the kinds that can really back up what they're saying.
Okay, do you think your team is better off with Christian?
Well, I think it will be different. I think it'll be different a little bit in the All Filipino because, again, of course, the bubble, we didn't have Greg. And so the pressure was on Japeth to carry us. And so this will take a little bit of the load off of Japeth. And the good news is we were able to develop Prince Caparal. So, we've got a nice three-man, big-man rotation there. And, of course, Joe Devance rotates to the backcourt and the front court. We've got a nice rotation of big men, now the four of them. I think it'll really be evident during the import conferences because one of the things that Christian does extremely well is guard import. And he imports have to guard him as well. So again, that takes the pressure off of Japeth. So I think that Christian will change the way we play just because of his versatility, both offensively and defensively. He's quicker up the floor. He's a little bit more versatile defensively. He can switch out and guard smaller guys if necessary. And he has that, just that motor, that huge motor to get to the rebounds and run the floor, set ball screens. Our players, I know the first time I told them that Christian was coming onto the team, I remember Jared, JD Dillinger, and Stanley were both excited, saying, wow, it's going to be fun to play pick and roll with that guy. So they're looking forward to it.
Okay, with the materials that you have now, Coach, do you think Ginebra is the favorite to win the Philippine Cup title?
No, that's I don't know. I don't think that's a proper question to ask coaches because coaches say yes, and all the teams are outgunning for them, and then they say no. Oh, you're just being humble. But there's a lot of good teams out there, and again, if I looked at us on paper, then I'd look down on the paper and I'd say, yeah, certainly we're one of the contenders. But the game is not played on paper. This is not a fantasy league where you just put in the best players and you take their stats and then you win because they put up great stats. That's not the way the real game is played, and I think we have a tendency to look at the game like it's a fantasy league game. And but there's a lot more goes to it. There's chemistry, there's sharing of the ball, there's the off-court stuff that goes on, and so it's not just played in paper; it's played on the court, and the game changes when it gets onto the court. So, it's real. It's real. I like to think that we are a contender, but we won't know until we get out there on the floor and actually start doing the work. Because it really comes down to the work you're going to do day to day. That's going to decide whether you're going to be a contender or whether you're going to be a championship team.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach Tim.
Thanks, Aldi.
Waylon, go ahead.
Hi, Coach.
Hi.
Coach Tim. Coach, of course, we're all waiting for the PBA's
Mhm.
resumption. We're waiting for Commissioner Willie Marshall's announcement regarding the PBA 46 season. But there are actually talks of another bubble. So we just want to know your thoughts about it, Coach. Going
Well,
another bubble.
the bottom line is, I think for all of us in the PBA, for me especially, I just think that we want to get back to work and start playing again. That's our passion and that's our love. So, this is terrible sitting around at home and not being able to meet with the guys and go play. So, you know, the last bubble was difficult, no doubt about it. It was mentally wearing. I hated being away from the family. Excuse me. Um, but we're going to have to do it, whatever it takes to to get back to playing. So as difficult as it might be, we'd certainly welcome the chance of going back into the bubble. Now, whether it's financially feasible for the PBA to do that again, I don't know. I'm not privy to that. I'm not, not on the board. I'm not seeing the financials and stuff. But from what I heard, it was a real difficult project to put together, and whether the PBA wants to go through all that and do it again. But I think the coaches, the players, I think they'll welcome going back into the bubble if that's the only recourse we have to start playing again.
Coach, you've been in the bubble for about more than 2 months.
73
What do you
days. We count the days. 73
yes.
days. Sorry. Go ahead.
What do you think are the changes for it to be for improvement?
I think that the second time around is always you always figure out everything was so. I think the hardest part about the bubble for the coaches was that there was nothing you could control. You couldn't decide when to practice. You couldn't decide how long to practice. You couldn't always see your players when you wanted to see them. You couldn't get your players to relax after a bad loss, or it's hard to be with them and to get them properly motivated. There was a lot of things out of your control. So. And that was such a new experience. And I think all of us coaches would be better at handling the bubble this time around if given the opportunity. I think that anytime you're going to do something a second or third or fourth time, you learn and you progress and you get better. So I would assume that the bubble would be, I think, more efficient this time around. I think that we'd be smarter in how we do it. But again, it's a huge, huge undertaking. And if you notice, not just the PBA, but the NBA, they didn't want to go back into a bubble as well. They took the risk of going out and playing with, and having cancellations and, infections and stuff. They took the risk of doing that rather than go back into a bubble a second time. So I know that opportunity is there, but I know that it's really, truly last resort for the PBA, only because it's just a huge, huge undertaking.
Mm-hmm. All right, Coach. Thank you.
Thanks, bud.
Aba, go ahead.
Hi, Coach.
Hey, I
Good.
like your hat.
Mabuti, Coach. Mabuti po. Anyway, Coach, back to Christian, Coach.
Uh-huh.
What kind of problems did Christian give you while he was still playing for Northport or for San Miguel? What was your biggest problem facing a Christian Standhardinger?
Well, I think it goes back to his versatility. He's not predictable. He's very strong, right? You know that. And he's not going to pull up and shoot 3-point shots. You know that. But where he attacks from, there's not really he doesn't really have a comfort spot on the floor. Unlike, like a Junmar, where Junmar is going to be, and you can kind of, develop your defense around that. With Christian, you can't do that. You don't know when he's going to attack, how he's going to attack. He has a certain awkwardness about his game that is unpredictable. and that makes him very, very difficult to defend. And I think that he'll be better. I think he gets better with the better players around him, guys who can spread the floor because he's a smart passer. He can put the ball on the floor and attack, which is really his favorite thing to do. He likes to attack the rim from the perimeter, which is unusual for a big man. So he has a different game from most other big men, and that unpredictability makes it hard to plan and scheme and to defend him. Plus the fact that he runs the floor really well for a big man. That always is hard to handle because when he runs the floor, he creates mismatches in transition. We always had to worry about that. And then just keeping him off the rebounds, keeping him off the boards. He's a ferocious rebounder. So, he really creates a lot of problems for teams. And opposed to a lot of players, it's really hard to try to figure out, what his weakness is and how to play him. So he was always a load for us to try to defend. We talked about him constantly. He was our main guy that we tried to defend, and every time we played Northport.
And now it's the problem of the 11 other coaches, not yours.
Thank goodness. I'm so happy about that.
Also, back with Christian, how did you learn, or how did you find out that the team was able to get Christian, and what was their immediate thoughts once you were told that, hey coach, we're having Christian in our team?
Well, it's always bittersweet because Greg Slaughter and I were very close. We were close. I came into the team and he was the first guy I contacted, him and Mark Kagiwa, and I took them to lunch individually, and we wanted him to be our shack in the triangle offense, and we built the offense around him. He had a lot of misfortune in terms of injury, so we weren't really able to, I think, really fully immerse him into what we wanted to do. By the time he was out from injuries, and by the time we got him back in, we were already progressing onto something else. So it was always, he was always trying to catch up to what we were doing. But there's no doubt about it, he was a really talented guy, and like I said, he and I were very close. So when I heard about the trade, it was very bittersweet. I know that there was talk about it. There was talk about it a long time before then, a year before, but I know that the management kept saying, no, we're not interested in trading Greg. So there were rumors out there for quite a while, but I know that the management wasn't willing to do anything at that time. So it wasn't until a week or two before the draft a week or two before the trade that I started to hear from the management that trade was gaining traction, that they were starting to talk about it. So it came pretty quickly, but if you're going to trade a guy like Greg, getting a guy like Christian is probably the best thing you could get. Like I said, Christian and I established a relationship in the Southeast Asian Games, and I think that he wanted to come here, and we wanted to have him. So, it worked out. And I think that for Greg, I think he's going to step over at Northport, and I think he's going to have that opportunity where that team is going to be built around him. And I think that's the kind of game Greg needs. He needs the game to be built around him, as opposed to being a complementary player. And I think that giving that opportunity over there, where he's kind of on his own, not sharing the limelight with Japeth and Joe Devance and other players, I think that he'll really come into his own over there. But in the meantime, I think Christian will come in and step into us and play the perfect role for us that we need him to do. And I don't think he'll put up the big numbers that he did with Northport. Oh, maybe once or twice, in one particular game here or there. But I think overall, I think he's just going to come in and help us be a winning team and give us an opportunity to win championships.
Coach, are you excited to play Northport?
No, I'm never excited to play against our ex-players because they're always motivated. They're always ready to go. You know that Greg is going to get his whole team going. And we have some other guys over there, Paolo and Kevin, and we have Jervy. We have guys that are over there that also are going to be ready to play Never. We know that. And the good news is that that's usually the case all the time with teams. They're always ready to play against Ginebra. I know when I was with Alaska and Pure Foods in the old days, I always got our teams ready to play Ginebra. That was always the biggest game of the conference, was to play Ginebra. So I know the reverse now of how it is.
I remember reading this book by Rafe Bartholomew that playing Ginebra is like Alaska playing the rest of the people of the Philippines. Huh?
Yeah, playing the whole nation. It was like, I always thought Ginebra was almost like playing the national team all the time. Everybody was ready to play against the national team because the whole team, nation would tune in. And that was our time to shine in those days. And, when I was with Alaska and Pure Foods, playing in Ginebra was our time to shine because that was the time when we'd have the most views and the most fans, and we could showcase our talents. And we always talked about that when we played in Ginebra. So that's how we got our guys ready to play. So now I'm on the other side. It's tough because all the teams come and play really hard every night, but you also have that huge following, a huge fan base that pushes you forward all the time, gets you ready. So the fans get us ready. The attention gets the other teams ready.
Okay, thanks, Coach. Risa, I think we have some more questions written down.
Yes, we have plenty of time with Coach Tim, and he's not going anywhere yet. So, Coach Tim, recently in the PSA Awards, I know you were a recipient again of Coach of the Year, correct, Jerry? We awarded Coach Tim Cone for recent PBA Press Corps Coach of the Year. Yes, and you mentioned that you wanted to share that award to Coach Topex. You recognize what Coach Topex has done. Can you tell us more about it again?
Well, I've always felt that the Coach of the Year award goes to the coach who allows his team to overachieve and who helps his team overachieve, play better than what people expected. And that's generally what the Coach of the Year award is. And so I think a team who comes in with great expectations, that has already these great expectations, and they do something good, then that's kind of what we expected. But if a team comes in and not many people are talking about them or speaking of them, and they turn around and have a great conference, then that's oftentimes that's because of the coach. So and that's exactly what Topex did with the Phoenix team. They came in with little fanfare. Not a lot of teams were talking about them. They were kind of a slight dark horse, but I think by the end of the bubble, they were the most fearsome team out there. I mean, we were all scared of them. And the way he got what's his name?
Calvin.
Calvin, sorry, he got Calvin to come in and in the middle of the bubble and to play at that high level right away and just to lift the whole team up was really truly amazing coaching. So as much as I really appreciated the award, and no doubt I really really did. I mean, I'm so honored. I thought Topex should have had a hand in that award.
Yeah, and Coach, this upcoming All Filipino, there are a team to contend with. With Chris Banchero being there, they also have Vic Manuel now. Then they also have Justin and everybody, right?
Well, they picked up their draft picks as well. They're building that team very very smartly, and I really like their lineup construction. And I think Topex is just going to be a fabulous coach. I think he just has the temperament for it.
Yeah. I agree. I agree, Coach. I was able to dig some information about you, but this could be it's not it's a little personal. So let me ask you: do you like numbers? Because I know, for once, not all teams have like a statistician that would really focus on numbers. You seem to be very keen on numbers. Do you like numbers that much? Are you good at math?
Uh, uh, well, I debated on being a math major. What I'm really bad at is plug it. Just can you give me a moment? I got to plug in my computer. It's about ready to die. I'm so sorry.
Okay,
Give me 1 second.
go ahead, Coach.
Let me just.
Di ba? Ano pa si Coach, ah?
Don't
we
worry,
go. Put
Coach
it
Tim
already.
Cone will be back.
Sabog
There he
I
goes.
got it already.
No, because
It was
Coach, okay, so
about 2%. I'm
here's
sorry. Oh
the
no! Oh no!
here's
Yeah.
the trivia. You worked in a bank before.
Yes. Right out of college. I
Wells
did.
Fargo.
Well, no. Well, it wasn't Wells Fargo. It was a bank called Crocker National Bank that was eventually bought by Wells Fargo. I mean, I did such a bad job at Wells Fargo that they had to sell themselves to Crocker. I ruined that whole bank. Um, I was only there for about a year before, actually less than a year before I came back home. I got homesick and came back to Manila and started living with my parents in the province. So that didn't last very long. But yeah, I am big into numbers. I think that's the new thing in sports world right now is what they call the analytics. I was a little resistant to it in the beginning, being old school, but I also understand that it's important, and you have to be very careful that you don't stay old school all the time. You've got to be able to keep growing and learning. So I started delving into analytics. The guy I talked to, I'm going to throw this name out there. The guy I talked to the most about analytics, because it was becoming big just when I was able to see him, was Eric Spoelstra from Miami Heat. Eric was at that time also getting really into the analytics in his team, and the NBA was really getting into analytics. And so when I came back, I started investigating about bringing analytics into our team. So we have a couple of guys, Patrick and Jam, that are our analytics guys, and they work with the numbers and they try to show us different ways to look at the game in terms of the numbers. And I think it's very revealing. I don't follow it strictly, but it does get my mind thinking and gives me alternative thoughts, and that's a chance for us to grow as a group and as a team.
So in college, Coach, what was the subject that you did very well, and which one you hated the most?
Well, I was the economics and American Lit major. I was a double major. I majored in economics and American Lit, and I was not a big fan of economics. I mean, it was my main major, but I always wanted to be a writer. American Lit American literature was truly my favorite classes and creative writing classes that I took and stuff. So I was more of I wanted to be a writer more than a mathematician.
Stay out of
Writer?
sports.
What kind of writer, Coach? You want to write for newspapers? You want to write a book?
I wanted to be a novelist. Yes, that was my thing. I wanted to be a novelist. I was always
Novelist.
wanted to write fiction. And I spent the first after that year at the bank. I came back here and I spent a year in the Bundok Peninsula in Quezon Province down south, and lived there for a year and just basically got up every morning and wrote, trying to write a novel.
What happened to this novel? Where is this?
It's around somewhere, but the bottom line was that I ran out of money. And I had to come back to Manila, and so I started working with my father's partner, and to start to survive. It was too skinny and jai staying with my parents and living off them. So, and then of course I met my wife. My girlfriend I met her. She was my girlfriend at the time, and I didn't want to live in the province anymore. I wanted to come back to Manila so I could be closer to her as well. So a combination of things. I always blame my wife for destroying my writing career. I always blame her.
So, Coach, are you, since you mentioned you're old school, do you used to write love letters because you like writing?
Uh, no, not really. I'm not a movie type of guy. I wish I could say I am, but I'm not. Those are questions you have to ask my wife. I think that you'd find from my wife that I'm not very mushy and cariñoso and all that stuff. I'm pretty what they call Puritan, and I try to get away from it, but I still have that deep in my soul, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Do you
Coach,
read books
Coach
still,
Tim,
Coach? Other.
Coach
Okay, go
Tim.
ahead, Zelly.
what's the title of that novel?
Ginebra.
No,
Never say die.
I'm so
Ah.
embarrassed about it because it's 30 years later and I haven't finished it yet. And but it was titled His Alone Now. Three words. His Alone Now.
Yeah.
I haven't.
Interesting.
It was set in the Philippines. Obviously, it's set in the province. It was a novel of fiction. So.
So are you going to finish that novel?
I don't know. I've got other writing projects that I'm working on, especially now. During the lockdown and before the bubble, I was working on a project. But I've revisited it a few times and picked it up again. But remember, some of the stuff I wrote 30 years ago, and I look at it now, it's not very good. But it could improve, no doubt. I was a young guy, trying my best, but not as knowledgeable, I guess, as I am now, not as experienced as I am now in terms of seeing life. And I think some of the stuff that I wrote back then was pretty amateurish. So I'd have to professionalize a lot of it.
Coach, I heard you're trying to learn how to speak Chinese. I just got a text from someone named Al Francis Chua.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
he can't be watching. Please, Al, don't be watching. And
He is right now.
Yeah, no, I'm not. barely get around with Tagalog, much less learning another language like Chinese, which is so difficult. But no, I would love to. I always wanted to send one of the things I kind of regret is that because we were living in the South, and I wanted to send my boys to Xavier so that they could learn Chinese. I thought that would be a great thing for them. But we were living in the South, and Xavier, of course, is in the North, so we never had that opportunity. But I think learning another language like that is incredibly awesome. And I always truly, in knowing my struggles in Tagalog, I always truly, honor those guys who can speak more than one language. Even for a Tagalog speaker to speak the English like they do, that just, I just bow to that. And because I know the struggles I go through in terms of Tagalog. And now learning 3 and 4 and 5 languages, wow, that's amazing.
Coach, can you tell us how is it working with Al Francis? Because he once said that Team Cone will never, ever get the chance to leave Ginebra.
He said that? I don't remember him ever saying that. I probably said that. I said that I would never, ever, ever have the chance to lead Ginebra. That's for sure. I never thought that would ever, ever happen. And lo and behold, here I am wearing my Ginebra shirt. And Al is. I just, I don't want to go into the inner workings of what we do in our team, but I will say this. Al has been absolutely tremendous for my career. He has helped me in every possible way in my coaching, and he leads the team. He leads the whole organization. He's a really underrated leader. Because I really pride myself on leadership, and I work hard on it, and so I can recognize a leader, and Al is just a really great leader. And you can see the way he leads all 3 teams, the San Miguel, Pure Foods, and us in Ginebra. He does a tremendous job, and he lets the coaches do the work and do their work, and he just helps us in any way possible. So, my hat's off to Al. He's been incredibly great for me, and I can't thank him enough.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Do we have any questions for Coach Tim?
I just want to
Coach,
say,
yes.
if Al is listening, Al, I want a raise next week. For, good things. Please give me a raise next week. It's a pandemic. Never mind.
All right, Jerry, Waylon, you still have questions? We're okay? All right,
Good,
Coach
good,
Tim Cone,
good,
we
good.
want to thank you for your time. The time that you spent with us this afternoon and being so open. The last time that we talked to you, you only had 22 championships. Now you have 23. So who knows? The next time we call you, you're holding on 24. So that
I
could be a
hope
good
so.
sign, yeah.
I hope so. Just
Coach,
got to keep growing and getting better. That's the whole point of it all. That's why.
Coach, you want to give a message to our viewers, PBA fans, Barangay Ginebra fans out there before we go?
Well, yeah, I've been very vocal in saying that we really, really missed the fans during the bubble. It's hard to explain that the game was so different without the fans, and we talk about them all the time. We talk about it with the players, and I've had the great fortune of going through the Alaska fans and the Pure Foods fans, and now into the Ginebra fans, and had a real cross section of all the PBA fans. And the game is just not alive without the fans. So we miss you terribly. We missed you then. We miss you now. And I just hope that when we get back, and that's one of the big things about going into the bubble. If we go into a bubble, we won't be able to have fans again. So I'm hoping there's the vaccine gets in and we can start interacting with our fans. I think that's the thing that's really missing from our lives and from our game the most. And so, we want you back, and we can't wait for you to get back.
And we can't wait to be talking to you again and hopefully seeing you in the games, Coach Tim. Thank you very much. Send all our regards to your family, and we hope that you always stay safe and healthy.
I'm so honored that you called me today, and thank you for giving me a platform to be able to speak today. Thanks. All the best, guys.
Thanks, Coach. We'll catch up next time again.
All right. Yeah. Thanks.
And that was the winningest coach in the PBA, Coach Tim Cone of the Barangay Ginebra San Miguel. Nagbubunyi ang Barangay Ginebra fans kasi napakatagal na panahon, di ba? Hindi nila nakikita ang kanilang mga idols, pati si Coach Tim. So we certainly hope that you enjoyed that interview as much as we did. We picked up so many things. His thoughts about Christian, the rookies that they have, and also this novel that we should find some way, one way or another.
Ano daw title?
Never say
He's
die.
alone.
Parang may alone something. Oh.
He's alone lang.
Yun. Kasi sa akin hindi masyado malinaw dito sa akin kanina eh.
Nag-text si Erap Al Francis. Coach Tim Cone will get the race if he raises the roof. So, raise the roof.
Hi, Coach Al Francis. At sa mga nanonood sa atin, hello. Okay, I think we're going to pause for a quick break. Yes, we're going to go on a quick break. When we come back, marami pa po tayong pagkakwentuhan. Napakarami pa nating sports balita at makakabati din tayo. Kaya huwag po kayong aalis. Magbabalik po ang
Jesus!
We'll be back. welcome back to the Chasedown. Sa mga kapapanood lamang, naku sayang, din yung inabutan. We had Coach Tim Con on the show, and again, we want to thank him for, spending a time or spending his time with us this afternoon. Was so insightful. Always a delight to talk to him. And ang ating chat box, sinilip ko ng saglit na saglit. Sa Facebook, ang dami-daming mga Barangay Ginebra fans and PBA fans na nanonood. Thank you. At katulad ng sinabi ni Coach Tim Con, we miss you all so much, and we're hoping and praying na sana bumuti na talaga ang lagay para magkita-kita tayo soon. Bumati muna tayo sa mga nanonood sa atin. May mga gusto ba kayong batiin? Unahin na kita, Waylon.
Before ako kumate, Riz, our prayers and condolences sa family ni Tito Sam Galvez. Kailan lang si Tito JB passed away few days ago. So nakikiramay the Chasedown sa family ni JB Galvez. Lalo na kay Tito Sam. Ito, birthday greetings. Budaki ka. Siyempre, unahin ko na yung tita ko, Geraldine Panlilio. Kaibigan natin, Dennis Principe, happy birthday.
Uy!
Ito, Miguel Galvez, birthday ako na. Happy birthday. Michael Esparas, pinsan ko, Isay Rowalio, happy birthday. Ito, Joey Sanchez Mendoza, happy birthday. Olympian natin, Nesty Petesio, happy birthday. Tomorrow yan. Ben Vicente, Joel Canlas, happy birthday. At saka, batiin na rin natin yung mga madalas manood sa replay natin. Andiyan si Father Vic Calvo ng Letran, Peter Caico ng Arellano, Paul Supa ng JRU, Sir Michael Dover, sir, saka si Benny Benitez. Pare, kamusta ka?
Benitez.
Uy!
Buhay ka.
Benny!
Yan. Jerry, go ahead. Your greetings.
Ano lang, belated happy birthday kasi nakaraan na eh. Wala tayo nung last week eh. Kay Noli Cortez, associate editor ng Malaya. At saka yung kasamahan natin dyan sa ESPN, si Eros Villanueva. Belated happy birthday. Thank you.
Nice. Zaldi, go ahead.
Sa lahat ng binati ni Jerry na happy birthday at saka ni Waylon, happy birthday din sa inyo lahat. And of course, binabati ko rin yung nanay ko. Nanonood niya yun. Yung aking may bahay, si Annie. Nanonood din. Tsaka yung kapatid ko. Yan, binabati ko.
Okay.
Aba.
Ako naman, pwede. Ganun din. Medyo on a sad note. Sabi nga nung isa kong kaibigan, last year, itong COVID, we were only looking at numbers. But now we are looking at faces, at the names of people who are close and dear to us. Masyado na dumadami. May text lang dito, namatay si ganyan, si Tito, si ganyan. So I'd like to condole with the family of my in-law, Uncle August Owe. May you rest in peace. And of course, a former schoolmate. 1 week lang siya nagka-COVID and now he's gone. Earl Manalansan. And may you all rest in peace. And to those who are struggling and fighting COVID, laban lang mga boys and mga fight lang tayo. Happy birthday na rin to my friend Bong Alfonso and Joel Bismon.
Yan.
Arsenic, no?
Wait, speaking
Arsenic.
of
Kabahay na,
birthday, nabati na ni Waylon kanina si Joey, di ba? Nabati na ni Waylon? Okay. Babatiin ko na lang din, Coach Roger Gorayev is celebrating also his birthday. Coach Roger, happy birthday.
Okay yan. Okay.
JB Moco, nag-birthday din. Kahapon. And ito, sa PBA, kasamahan natin sa staff, si Sir Jerry Misias. Happy birthday.
Si Jerry!
Tagal na sa
Jer!
Happy birthday, sir. Yan ang iniistorbo ko sa mga ticket na mga patago sa sir. Happy birthday po sa inyo. Thank you sa inyong hard work sa PBA.
Si Jerry yata, nagsimulang magtrabaho sa PBA yan. 8 years old pa lang eh.
50 years na sa PBA yan.
8 years old pa lang yata yun. Taga-timpla ng kape ni...
Alala ko
Taga-timpla ng kape ni Mama Linda.
Pare, sila Mila.
Oo. Oo, sila Mila rin.
Birthday niya. Birthday niya
Cesar.
bukas. So, sir, happy birthday po sa inyo from the Chasedown family. Okay, mamaya babati pa tayo, lalo na sa mga
Uy,
nanonood
yay!
sa atin via chat sa sa Facebook. Ay, Josh Buendia is also watching us. Hello!
Hi,
And
Josh.
yeah, and Nikki outside is watching, taking care of Bella. Hi.
Nikki.
Okay.
Nakamonitor
Hi,
din.
Bella.
We have other sports balita. Si Zaldi ang in charge kay Coach Magpayo all the way from the United States, doing so well in the NCAA. Di ba, Zaldi?
Oo, magandang balita yan. Parang Jaja Santiago din ang dating, ano? Nakuha ng PhilAm na si Mike Magpayo ang Joe B. Hall Award. Isang citation po yan na ibinibigay sa Best Rookie Coach sa US NCAA. Si Magpayo ang take nota, ang unang Asian American coach sa NCAA Division 1 na nabigyan niyang award na yan. Tinulungan niya ang University of California, Riverside sa 14-7 record at sa third spot sa Big West standings. Dinala rin niya ang Highlanders sa semifinals ng Big West tournament for the first time since 2011. Yan, magandang karangalan po yan. At nakikita na yung husay ng ating mga kababayan at saka ng mga PhilAm pagdating sa mga international competition.
Yun.
Nice. All right. See, kay Tiger Woods, Zaldi, meron ka ring balita. Earlier in the headlines, we were talking about it and we
Oo.
were about to discuss kung ano ba talaga yung naging dahilan ng kanyang aksidente.
Oo, siyempre maraming nagulat no, na aksidente yan at saka sa pagkakita natin doon sa nangyari sa sasakyan niya, talagang total wreck, himalang nakaligtas siya. So, inilabas na nga ng Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office ang dahilan sa aksidente ni Tiger Woods noong February. Mantakin nyo, tumatakbo pala itong sasakyan ni Tiger ng 84 to 87 miles per hour. Ang equivalent po niyan sa kilometers per hour is 135 to 140.
Wow. Downhill.
Talagang napakabilis, ano? At
Downhill.
yun isang downhill sa kalsada at may 45 miles per hour o 72 kilometers per hour speed limit.
Wow.
So yun, dahil siguro na out of control siya doon sa sasakyan niya, sinalpok niya yung puno na ang bilis nung takbo ng sasakyan na sumalpok siya ay 75 miles per hour o
Wow.
120 kilometers per hour.
Wow.
At mind you yung pong lugar na yon ay talagang sinasabing accident-prone area at hindi na nabigyan ng traffic citation si Woods. Alam ka naman, bigyan mo pa ng traffic citation yun, muntik pang namatay yung tao. So, tingin ko dito, baka nakatulog, di ba, si Tiger Woods? Kaya nagkaganon. Naidlip.
Alam niya. Tinikitan pa,
Oo. Oo. Hindi na nga daw binigyan. Alam bigyan mo pa ng tikitan mo pa. Buti na namatay yung mama.
Hindi naman.
Buti nakaligtas. Oo.
Yeah.
Di ba?
Alright.
Kaya tayo din, siyempre, ingat-ingat tayo pagkapuyat. Medyo
Siyempre.
nakainom ng konti, ingat-ingat tayo sa pagmamaneho.
Yung
Kasi
madami
mahirap
ka mo.
na.
Oo, wait lang ha.
Oo.
Pwede,
Oo. Split
Split
second lang. Matindi na ang mangyayari sa buhay natin. Pagka disgrasya tayo.
Hindi na lumalabas ng bahay. Sa bahay na lang.
Oo. Si Risa din. Ako, Risa, ikaw iingat ka sa pagmamaneho. Sa bagay, malaki yung sasakyan mo. Oo.
Thank you so much, Zaldi, for those news again on Coach Magpayo and Tiger Woods. Lipat naman tayo ngayon kay fighting Senator Manny Pacquiao. Abak will tell us more about balita kay Senator.
Balita ko, tatakbo.
Uy!
Uy!
Sa treadmill.
Uy.
Bukas,
Uy.
nagja-jogging kasi siya sa Dasmariñas Village. Tatakbo bukas ng umaga yan, nagpapakondisyon. Anyway, ang pinag-uusapan ngayon ay Manny Pacquiao versus Terence Crawford. Ang 33 years old na Amerikano, undefeated in 37 fights. WBO champion, nakakatakot yan. Pero hindi, nakakatakot lang, pero kaya natin yan. Ang masama nito, sa June 5 daw yung laban. Di ba? Pero tinanong natin si Sean Gibbons, tinext natin, ang sagot agad sa akin, not happening. Sabi niya.
Wala. Oh.
Dahil ito, ang nagpapaugong yata nitong Terence Crawford fight is sila Uncle Bob Arum, ano? Dahil manok niya yun si Terence Crawford. Sabi naman ni Sean Gibbons, we are actively pursuing Senator Pacquiao's next fight for May or June versus Mikey Garcia or Errol Spence and hope to close a deal soon next week to get the senator in the ring and his career back. At kausap din natin si David Season, Jeff, si David Season. Kahapon, kausap natin. Sabi naman niya, nothing is final. Ganon din, hoping sila na sana daw within this month masilyado na ang next fight ng ating idol. Tatakbo bukas siya, tatakbo.
Yeah,
Tatakbo,
jogging. I was looking at his Instagram account, and his recent post is actually, him being active still, diba? Despite, of course, the lockdown, finding ways to stay fit. Yan ang kanyang huling Instagram post. And speaking of which, I just want to bring it up because a few days ago, last week, he posted something about, of course, being a strong advocate to stop Asian hate crimes that is happening in the United States. You remember this post? Yung nakalagay, fight me instead.
Correct.
In different languages. Kasi nga dumadami itong mga kaso ng hate crimes in the United States that would involve, again, Asians, and at particular, ay mga elderly. Di ba? We've seen viral videos of this Asian woman being kicked to the ground, and the security guards and the staff of this establishment across, which seen the whole thing, even did not help her and slammed and closed the doors on her. So si Senator hindi na nakatiis and posted this on his Instagram account and saying, fight me instead. And umanito ng iba't ibang reaksyon because a lot of people of course follow the good senator on Instagram. He basically has 6.2 million followers. But ako, in my opinion, I like it. I like how he's speaking up for us. He's an icon when it comes to us being Asians. So for Manny Pacquiao to say something about it meant a lot to me. And I support him in his fight, 'di ba? Wag kasi puntiryahin lalong-lalo na yung mga matatanda na walang kalaban-laban.
Oo naman.
I want to hear your thoughts about this. Jerry, you're nodding your head. You seen the post?
Yes, oo. Iba-ibang Meron pang ako ang labanan niyo. Parang ganun yung isang post niya in Tagalog. And hindi ko alam yung iba kung Chinese yun or
tama.
Japanese. No?
Japanese, Korean.
Filipino.
Korean, Wow. It's a welcome it's a welcome gesture on the part of the good senator dahil it only shows he cares for our countrymen. Kahit na nasa ibang bansa na sila, kahit na citizen na sila ron, yung he's advocating yung equal rights ng bawat tao, Asian ka or kung ano man kulay mo, dapat walang hate among us. We should spread love one among others. So group hug tayo.
Yan, tama. Group hug, Jerry. Okay, thank you, Jerry. Okay, di pa tayo sa iba pang sports balita. Ito, magandang balita rin to somehow. Waylan on Sir Al Panlilio.
Si boss.
Before ko ito na yung kay Alpanilio, Jerry, abangan ko yung spread love mo, ha?
Yan.
Ito, syempre, ang ating SBP President at ang first Vice President ng Philippine Olympic Committee, si Tito Al Panlilio. Of course, he's been appointed as chairman for the procurement ng vaccine for our national athletes. Pero itong vaccines na to, ang target for the national team athletes na lalaban sa Southeast Asian Games in Vietnam. Kasi alam naman natin yung mga atleta natin na lalaban sa Tokyo Olympics, kagaya ng si Yumir Marshall, vaccinated din sa Amerika. Yung iba pa
Tama.
natin, sila Yulo, sila Obiena,
Oo.
mga boxers natin, Pepesio, Magno, and Paalam, wala pa silang vaccine. Pero ito, may dadating na vaccine na yan, May or June, courtesy of Enrique Razon. Pero yung mga Southeast Asian Games athletes natin in Vietnam, ito yung target ng POC, ng Philippine Olympic Committee under President Bambol Tolentino na magkaroon ng vaccine before the Southeast Asian Games.
Tama.
Yung budget na pagkukunan for the procurement ng vaccine na to, manggagaling sa Olympic Council of Asia. Ang halaga nito, $40,000
Wow.
subsidy para makabili tayo ng vaccine for the national team. So aside from Sir Al Panlilio, inappointed niya sa working group na yan si Dr. George Canlas, si Attorney Billy Sumagi, ang NGAP or Gulf Federation SecGen Bones Floro, and si Dina Remolacio of the POC. Kasama din sa working group na yan yung PLDT Chief Procurement Officer na si Os de la Paz. So itong grupo na to, they will work on trying to get as a private entity to get a vaccine. Wala pang linalabas na balita sa office ni Mr. Al Panlilio kung anong klaseng vaccine. Pero I'm sure they'll try everything as a private entity to get the best available vaccine para sa mga atleta natin na lalaban for the Southeast Asian Games. Riza?
Nice,
Tama yun,
Waylon.
tama.
Bago tayo pumunta dun sa next mo na sports balita, Waylon, since na-mention mo lang yung GAB, nais lang din natin batiin kasi kaibigan to ng show natin na talaga namang sinusuportahan ng The Chasedown. Sir Baha Mitra, we're so happy
Come on.
that you're recovered. Thank you, sir. Our
Yes.
prayers are answered and keep safe and stay healthy, sir. Thank you. Alam mo,
Boss, Mayor,
hindi talaga
Chairman.
madamo si Sir Baham kasi sinishare niya yung naging experience niya, to all of us para lahat tayo ay mas maging conscious at maging cautious. Again, this virus is not, choosing anybody, matanda, bata, of all walks in life.
Yogi,
So
pangit.
again, Sir Baham, we hope to be catching up with you again soon. Thank you, sir, always. Maraming
Yes,
salamat
Chairman.
po. Okay, Waylon, your other sports balita.
Yes, ito naman tungkol syempre sa paborito nating
Fencers.
sports, fencing. Actually, paborito ni
Oo,
Willa.
karate.
Oo.
Hindi tayo nag-report last week sa show. Pero magandang naging performance ng mga fencers natin. Unahin na natin last week, si Sam Katantan, she finished tied for third sa
Bronze,
US
nag-bronze.
as a freshman, as a rookie ng Penn State University. Historic ito for her dahil unang-una siya ang kauna-unahang Pilipino na to play in a Division 1 school in the USNCAA, and kasama doon sa history na yun, naging undefeated siya sa pool play. That's why naging number 1 siya going to the semifinals. Unfortunately, natalo siya sa
Sayang,
teammate niya sa semifinals, pero magandang finish pa rin for her. Tied for third together with yung kalaban niya sa Southeast Asia na taga Singapore, si Anika Beatriz na naglalaro sa Notre Dame. So good for Sam Katantan. Eto, fast forward tayo. Lumalaban actually kakatapos lang ng laban nila dito naman sa Cairo in Egypt, yung juniors cadet World Fencing Championships. So maganda rin ang naging performance ng fencers natin. Unahin ko na dyan si Sam Katantan din nga sa junior division na 18 to 20 years old. Nagkaroon siya ng best finish niya na 20th overall sa women's foil individual. Tapos yung isa pang PhilAm natin na si Lance Tan, maganda rin ang naging placing niya, number 23 overall. Out of out of 92 countries. Actually, normally, ang sabi sa atin, Coach Amat Canlas, dahil may pandemic, nasa 90 plus lang ang participants. Pero pagka normal ang paligid lang, nagkakaroon ng 160 participants itong World Championships. Kaso nga lang, may pandemic, out of 92 participants, 23 si Lanstan, si Sam Katantan, 20th overall. Ito isang
Wow.
history. Sa cadet naman na 13 years old to 17 years old, si Dana Talavera na isang 16-year-old sa Amerika from Missouri na grade 11. Tumapos siya ng number 7 overall out of the 90 participants. So, linagpasan niya yung naging performance ni Sam Katantan noong 2019 na pang number 20 overall. So ngayon, si Dana Talavera, 16 years old, number 7 overall ang tinapos. Sayang, hindi pumasok sa semifinals. Natalo siya sa isang kalaban niya from Russia yata. I think 15-14. So 1 point lang ang naging talo niya. Sayang, hindi pumasok sa semifinals. May chance to enter the podium stage. So okay pa rin. Number 7 overall. So yung mga fencers na yan, yung Dana Talavera, of course, Sam Katantan, Lanstan, nandyan din yung Anika Santos, may mga iba pang upcoming fencers. Aabangan natin lahat yan. Magkakaroon ng qualifying tournament for the Southeast Asian Games. Gagawin yan sa Ormoc. Marami. Big things coming for our Filipino fencers. Itong buwan din, ang qualifying tournament nila sa Tashkent, Uzbekistan. Riza?
Dami, no?
Nice. Thank you. And to our fencers, all the best as always sa inyong lahat. All right, Jerry naman, moving on to Jerwin Angkahas News.
Finally, yung pagka-tagal-tagal na laban ni Jerwin Angkahas at Jonathan Rodriguez, matutuloy na bukas. Dyan sa Mohegansan sa Connecticut. At this is for the IBF Super Flyweight title. Ayan, Jerwin Angkahas. Kanina,
ayan, no?
Hindi. Yeah, kanina, weigh-in. Kaninang umaga yan, no? And Jerwin Angkahas weigh at 114.8 pounds.
Swak.
Samantalang yung kalaban came in exactly at 115 pounds. So, it's been, this fight is a long one in coming, sabi nga nila, dahil November 2019 dapat ito. Kaso hindi natuloy dahil hindi nakakuha ng US visa itong si Rodriguez na reset ng April last year, kaso inabutan na nga ng COVID outbreak dyan sa US.
Pandemic.
Kaya, pandemic. Eto, dito na natuloy ngayong April 10. Bukas yan. Si Jerwin Angkahas, nasa US na yan for the last 6 months. Kakahintay nung laban niya kay Rodriguez. So halos kalahating taon siyang naghihintay nandun. Kaya alam mong eager ng lumaban itong si Jerwin na sana naman pagpalain na manalo siya. And I think ipapalabas yan sa One Sports and One Sports Plus bukas ng umaga. And I think pati sa mga Facebook Live yata ipapalabas din ng One Sports.
Note tayo.
So abangan niyo yan. Magandang laban yan.
Bukas.
Jerwin.
Thank you, Jerry. Okay, paspas tayo. LA Lakers, Waylon, NBA.
Waylon.
LA Lakers, sarado na. Hindi, magbubukas pala. Magbubukas for the fans. Lakers.
Masama loob.
Ban mo yung LA Lakers.
Nagkaroon na sila ng definite date para sa kanilang pagsabit ng kanilang banner 17 na tumabla sa Boston Celtics.
Nananalo kanina.
Kaya pala, asar ka.
Ayan, May 12.
Asar na naman.
Abangan ng Lakers fans sa pagsabit na yan ng kanilang banner 17. Dahil papapasukin na yung... Actually, etong April 16, I think, ang plano para buksan ng pinto para sa mga fans ng LA Lakers. Ngayon, kung matutuloy yan, syempre, palagi nang may fans yan na manonood. Pero syempre, social distancing yan. Napapanood naman ng NBA sa mga platforms ng Signal TV, sa iba-ibang channels natin. So, sa May 12, kaabang-abang yan. Tignan natin kung maisasabit nila ang kanilang banner na si Zaldi Perez lang ang natutuwa
Thank you,
Talaga,
Waylon. Okay,
Nanalo
Back to back,
Boston
Waylon.
kanina.
ang yung writer's block. You have 2 stories.
Yes, unahin ko na. Of course, yung kaibigan natin, si James De Los Santos. Aba,
Yay!
Yun.
nanalo.
Kala ko mamimiss natin eh.
Gold medal sa Ikata tournament.
Ayok. Galing.
Oo, 2 weeks nag-antay yan. Actually, napanalunan niya yung athletes sa Ikata tournament early this week. So, ngayon, ang kanyang bilang ng medalya, 13 na. Alam naman natin na last year, for him to become number 1 sa kanyang division, ang male open na division ng Ikata, naka 35 yan. Actually, 36 eh. Yung isa kasi medal niya, gold medal niya, hindi outside of the World Karate Federation. Pero sa sanction tournaments ng WKF 35. Pero syempre bilang 36. Kaya congratulations.
OJ.
Santos 13 overall na. April pa lang. Tingnan natin. Ako tingin ko diyan malalagpasan naman niya yung 35 niya o 36.
Ikaw, mga 100.
Kwenta na.
Eto, yun Riza. Eto, may isa pa.
Oh,
Miguel.
Ito pa ang isa ng balita sa ating writer's block. Actually, banggit na natin kanina yung kay Sam Katantan. Ang
Sam Katantan.
development lang yung kay Sam, lalaban yung lalaban yung national team natin, 6 na fencers ang lalaban sa OQT sa Tashkent, Uzbekistan. Starting April 26. Aalis yan, yung team na yan, April 21. Ang sabi lang sa atin ni Coach Amat Canlas na madalas manood sa replay natin, itong pagtatapos ni Sam Katantan na 3rd overall sa US NCAA, magandang kumbaga moral boosting ito sa national team natin. Kasi ito madadala nila to going to Tashkent pag umalis na sila sa bubble training camp nila sa Ormoc City. So we wish the national fencing team, we wish you good luck, God bless sa darating yung OQT. Sana may 1 o 2 pumasok. Kung pwede lang na 6 eh. Kasi ang papasok sa Tokyo Olympics, 1 lang. Yung magcha-champion sa per division. Alam naman natin na sa men's and women's, lang yan eh. Foil, epee, and saber lang. So kung sino lang yung top performer dun sa per category na yun lang yung papasok sa Tokyo Olympics. Riza?
Wow.
Okay, thank you, Waylon, for all those news. One last, we have writer's block from Jerry. Go ahead, Jerry.
Go, go, go.
Ito medyo sad news lang dahil ayan,
Uy.
si Alaska coach Jeff Carriazo ginunita yung pagkamatay ng kanyang former teammate sa PBL, si Frank McKinney, no? Baka si Waylon or si Apak, baka natatandaan niyo to, si Frank McKinney, no? O Philam yan, na naglaro sa Instafood. Instafood yung team ng Magnolia sa Philippine Basketball League. And previously, kasama siya ni Coach Jeff na pumunta rito in 1992 to play with the Atlanta PBC Fives na puro mga Philam players galing from the Bay Area. And naglaro sila sa PBL hanggang sa silang dalawa ni Coach Jeff ang naiwan dito. Tuloy-tuloy nang naglaro sa PBL and then sa PBA. Pero si Frank McKinney hindi nakapaglaro sa PBA dahil medyo nagkaroon siya ng konting problema sa papeles niya, no? But nonetheless, sabi nga ni Coach Jeff, he was a good teammate, a very good guy, and he's the father of ABL Best Import, no, Asian Heritage Import, si Mick McKinney, no? So our condolences to the family. Okay, condolence. Thank you, Riz.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you. Okay, now, on a sad note also, our social media usisa is very controversial. And I say sad because this is, of course, relating to some serious family matters. We've seen all over social media the post about Gio Halalon. Apparently, his wife posted na nagkakaroon sila ng problema. Gio Halalon is being accused of having having affairs outside their marriage, also of abuse verbally and somehow physically. We haven't heard anything from Gio Halalon. That's far as what I know. I haven't heard anything from his side. But if you ask me, it's sad. Kasi sana yung mga ganitong problema hindi yun ang nangyayari. Lalong-lalo na sa ganitong panahon kung saan talagang, di ba, ang mga tayo magkakapamilya dapat, magsama-sama tayo and we should be, valuing and be grateful for one another. But it's really sad that this is happening. Very quick, I want to get your thoughts about this. You've seen it, Zaldi? Yung balita kay Gio?
Oo, nakita ko rin, pero alam mo, parang sa mga, tama ka, Risa, sa mga ganitong pagkakataon, hindi na dapat sanang lumalabas ito sa in public. Lalo na si Gio Halalon, parang kilala na yan because magaling na player yan sa Magnolia. Pero wala tayong magagawa dahil alam mo, pagka nagagalit ang isang tao, wala nang pakialam sila dyan . At ang gusto na lamang nilang mangyari, ipahiya yung taong kinagagalitan nila. Pero in the end, kung titingnan natin, bandang huli yan, magkakasundo din yan. Magsisisi pa sila kung bakit ginawa nila yung mga bagay na yun.
Sana.
Well, I say we don't know what's really going on. We haven't heard any side from Gio or from the wife actually. So we hope, and nevertheless, our show is open for Gio if he wants to say something. But nevertheless, we hope that they figure it out at maayos sana nila to, di ba? But that was, what's hot in social media. For our social media usisa. One last bate bago tayo magpaalam. I just want to say happy birthday to Ma'am Zandra of New Era. Thank you
kilala ko yan.
for our caps.
Yes, Ma'am Sandra.
Happy birthday, Ma'am.
Happy birthday.
And with that being
Happy
said,
birthday.
we want to thank everybody for joining us this afternoon. Maraming salamat po sa ating naging bisita, Coach Tim Cone, for spending time with us. And we surely hope they enjoyed this week's episode. Sa mga nanood sa atin via live stream, PBA Rush, at nakinig sa atin via Radyo 592.3 News FM. Thank you very much. Magkita-kita po tayo ulit next week. In behalf of our ka-chasers, Waylon Galvez, Zaldi Perez, Jerry Ramos, and Abba Cordero, at ang aming crew na napakasisipag, Mike, Direk Christian, Mel, Direk AB, Ate Rina, at lahat-lahat na, we want to thank you all at magkita-kita tayo ulit next week sa isa na namang edisyon ng
Chasedown!
Kami po ang boses ng Pinagkaisang Pilipinas, 1PH. We'll see you next week. Bye! Happy birthday, Ma'am Zandra!
Manang!
Bye!
Bong Alpon.